Unresolved Problem segment tonight, new report from the Texas Department of Public Safety's Border Security Operations Center. It says that state authorities in Texas are being overwhelmed by problems on the border. 2 Texas peace officers recently shot dead by a Mexican gang member. The Salvadorian gang, MS-13, has seen dozens of its members apprehended trying to cross into Texas. And the illegal alien children situation totally out of control. Factors call for Americans to boycott Mexico because that country is allowing drug smugglers and human traffickers to pretty much run wild, and has incarcerated U.S. Marine Sergeant Andrew Tamaresi on dubious charges when he is suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Joining us now from Washington, Simon Rosenberg, president of the New Democrat Network, a liberal think tank, and Chad Sweet, who used to work at the CIA and Department of Homeland Security. Mr. Sweet, we begin with you. What is Mexico's culpability here, in your opinion?
Well, as you know, I've been on Fox before and praised Mexico when their former president, Calderon, had an extremely aggressive anti-smuggling and counter-narcotic program. But as we've seen under President Nieto, a very different approach. He's taken his foot off the gas. The flood of unaccompanied children that are coming to the United States is directly as a result of their willingness to be culpable. They don't swim here. They go across Mexico, and they're turning a blind eye towards this. So
how do you know they're turning a blind
border?
How do you know they're turning a blind eye? How do you know that the Mexico City authorities are aiding and abetting this flood of human beings, mostly children right now, 100,000 this fiscal year? How do you know they're doing that?
Well, the math speaks for itself. If you look at the largest part of the southern border of Mexico is Guatemala. That's 577 miles. There are only approximately 125 law enforcement officers, and they don't even have their own border patrol. So the fact that we're seeing over 100% increase in unaccompanied minors this year alone is a direct mathematical function of their turning a blind eye.
All right. Mr. Rosenberg.
Sure.
If it's true, and it is, that we've confirmed that there are less than 200 Mexican authorities on their southern border, that's a choice that President Nieto is making. And he knows that the flood of migrants coming from Central and South America is impacting us in the United States negatively. So he's making a choice not to secure his southern border. So shouldn't Americans be furious about that?
Well, the Mexico is taking responsibility for the first time in their history to fortify the southern border. They're moving far more resources down there. They've committed publicly to work with the United States over the next few years.
Well, how many guys have been moved down there, Mr. Rosenberg? How many have been moved down?
Bill, there have been many reports now that the largest number of people being returned into these 3 Central American countries are being returned by Mexican officials of capturing people when they're coming across the Guatemalan border.
But you don't know how many are down there.
No. What we do know is that the largest number of kids going back into these 3 countries are coming from Mexico and not from the United States.
Okay.
There's been
that's
a significant
stat that's
change
coming out of Mexico. I don't know if we've been able to confirm that stat.
No, but that's absolutely the case. The second thing is, what we know is that the flow coming into the United States of the migrants is down. Third, what we know is that 10 years ago, 700,000 Mexicans were coming, unauthorized Mexicans were coming into the United States every year. That number last year was 100,000. The flow is way down.
But that was that's an economic
the Mexican
deal.
flow.
Okay. Mr. Sweet, you want to reply to Mr. Rosenberg?
Well, the absolute number of apprehensions is down, but if you look at what we're talking about here is since 2008, cocaine is up over 232%, according to DA. Meth is up over 5-fold. And if we look at the unaccompanied minors issue, we see already that there's an over 100% increase. So the math at the detail level actually doesn't support his argument.
Okay.
The second point I make is let's be honest about our own southern border. When we were in office, when I was chief at Homeland, there were only 73 miles of fence on a 2,000-mile southern border. Under President Bush, we had to build 670 miles of fence and double the size of the Border Patrol from 9,000 to 18,000. Well, that's real progress. When you look at what are they doing, you asked the right question, Bill, is show us the action, not just rhetoric, but action. And as you said, he could not actually supply any evidence that there's real resources being deployed.
Wait a minute. Outside the big crossings at Tijuana and Tucson, there doesn't seem to be any Mexican presence on their northern border to stop these coyotes from bringing the kids and the other people over. I don't see that down there. Why not?
Can I respond to
yes,
this?
Go
this
ahead.
one? So, first of all, the U.S. and Mexico announced last summer that they were going to be having the first set of joint border patrol activity on the northern border of Mexico.
Has that happened? Nobody's seen it.
No, there have been now many joint patrols that have taken place since last summer. The second thing is, let's be clear about the flow, right? Under Bill Clinton, it was 600,000 a year. Under George Bush, it was 400,000 a year. Under Barack Obama, it's down to zero. The flow of undocumented immigrants into the United States has gone to zero, way down from when Mr. Sweet was in office with President Bush.
What do you mean zero? I mean, there are millions of people coming in here every year.
No, that's wrong. That's simply wrong. The net flow of undocumented immigrants into the United States is zero. No. Hey, Bill, happy to show you all the data. Right?
Okay,
the second thing is
your data is going to go up against other people like the Border Patrol that contradict
They're wrong. No, that's not true.
Yes,
and the crime is down on the U.S. side of the border dramatically from when Mr. Sweet was in office a few years ago.
I'll give you the last word, Mr. Sweet.
Well, I would say one point. Number one, his point about joint operations is critical. There hasn't been joint operations. Part of the problem is that we have a Merida initiative ready. We've the Merida initiative, $2.7 billion allocated. There's an opportunity to deploy that to help Mexico. When they let us, there's success. We helped them capture Chapo Guzman. We helped them capture Miguel Morales. These are two of the largest drug lords. So if they let us help them together, we can solve this problem. If
on Monday, we're going to give you the U.S. Border Patrol stats, and we'll see if Mr. Rosenberg is correct. Gentlemen, thank you. Plenty more ahead.